So today I got asked a question which I thought was a really good question from the Malaska Golf website, which was how do we utilize momentum to stop me from taking the club too far inside and coming over the top? So I'm going to show you how we can actually use momentum to actually help us swing the club easier and hit the ball better on a better path. So come on, let's go do it. So on Malaska Golf, you can ask us coaches questions, okay? You can ask Mike Malaska himself, or you can ask myself, or all the other guys that are, and girls that are members as certified instructors. And one of the questions we get asked a lot of is about momentum of the club and how to utilize that momentum, but also how can you, utilizing momentum, stop somebody from coming over the top, you know, so the classic over the top swing. Well, using momentum actually helps you to reverse that motion, and it's a lot easier to do than what people think. Now, the biggest thing that we see happens is most people tend to get the momentum of the club going behind them very, very quickly, and it's quite a common fault. Probably 80% of golfers tend to do this, all right? And when you get the golf club going behind you, the momentum of the club is going behind you and it's going away from the ball. But at some point, that momentum can't keep going backwards. At some point, it's going to then come over this way because you're going to have to try and get the momentum going that way to get the club head just anywhere near the ball itself. So we've got to utilize the momentum and almost do the opposite to that. So that's the main cause of it. If I get the club going too far behind me this way, the momentum's going to then come up, over and steep, okay? And that's the most common fault that we tend to see a lot of amateurs do. Good players, bad players, whatever they are, okay? And that's where we need to use momentum in the swing. If you use that correctly, it gets the club on path, all right? So it comes down to two factors really generally. Number one, they have a very weak grip, okay? They don't have a grip that suits you or how your joints should line up. So what happens there is the club face is you're holding the club with what they call a neutral grip, two knuckles and so on. So this immediately gets the forearms to rotate in the takeaway, because my arm wants to go into its naturally strong position, which is how my joints line up. And this gets the club face closed and gets the club face rolling behind them. Okay, so you need to double check your grip first, number one. Number two, poor concept. What I mean by that is they know they're slicing from outside to in or coming across the ball. So what they have a tendency to do there is they have a tendency then to try and swing the club more to the inside, thinking that's going to make them come on the inside on the way through. But as we just discussed there, the momentum of the club then is thrown out because then it wants to go up and over the top. So you've got to make sure that you understand those two things first. Now, utilizing momentum is it's actually easier to do than what people give credit for. And let's say, for example, you're a baseball player, okay? Utilizing momentum, you straight away, as soon as you hold the bat, you're holding the bat up like this. The momentum of the club or the bat is already upright for it to enable it to then go into a shallow mode. There is no way on this earth that you're going to take a baseball bat, start down here and then come over the top to hit a baseball. It just isn't going to work, all right? You start every time with the momentum of the club going up to then under, all right? And that's really crucial that you understand that. It's the same with tennis. It goes up, over my hands and under. I'm utilizing the momentum. It's the most common thing that you can possibly do. When you understand that, it's a lot easier to perform it. Thanks for watching so far. Please remember to like, subscribe and share this video. And remember, ask me any questions, drop them in the comments below. I want to help you improve your game and any of your friends' games as well. Let's try and get you better together. So how do we fix that? How do we get a feel for momentum? Okay, and it's a lot easier than you think. It's a great drill that we do, and I've done it before on the video and the channel before, but it's a good one to do, and I would tend to teach this quite a lot to a lot of amateur golfers because most of them have this tendency to pull the club on the inside. And we call it the hinge drill, and it's a great way to feel momentum. Now, most tour players, if you're watching them, they have this tendency to keep the club head outside their hands as they're going back. They never once allow the club. I mean, there's a few golfers out there that have done Ray Floyd's and so on and so forth, and they've done well. It's a way to play, of course. But what they have a tendency to do is they all have a tendency to keep the club head outside their hands as they take the club away and then allow it to go over the hands and under. What they don't do is tend to go too shallow. I mean, John Rahm, yes, you can say that. But that's really the feel that we want you to get. You're getting the bat to go up to then under. And it's this hinging the club up to under. Now, I'm exaggerating it here, obviously. It's never going to be that much. But there's a point that if I do this drill, and we call it the hinge drill. So what it basically is, I dress the ball, I take hold of the club, I hinge the wrists up, okay, upwards in this angle here, right? Now doing this immediately keeps the club head outside my hand, or the momentum outside my hands, okay? And when I take the club away, I'm going to move the butt of the club and the club head at virtually the same point. There'll be a point when they get to about level with the hands, and then they're going to go over my hands. And this means that the momentum started outside and then away from the ball. The momentum's moving away from the ball, okay, for it to then come back down on the right path. So I'm doing the complete opposite of this by hinging the wrists up, swinging here, goes over my hands and under. Now, when they get the momentum going that way, it does a lot of good things. It gets my body moving correctly. So hinge the wrists up, gets my transfer going, it keeps my back turned to the target for a little longer to then come into the ball. So it does a lot of great things, more good than bad. All right, so it's a great drill to do. You can do it on a T-peg, or I probably would advise on a T-peg to start with. You're probably going to hit a few fat fins to start with. Stay with it. It's only a practice drill. It's a feel versus a reel. Okay, we never want the club to be like out here, probably. We want to keep it just fairly minimum. But that motion is really that. I'm utilizing momentum. And when you feel momentum, it really is hard to not unsee it, basically, or unfeel it. So you're just going to take the club up, take a dress, start off nice and slow if you have to, hinge the wrists up, club up, and down and under, okay? You're just going to get a feel for that club moving in that direction and under. Okay, I can come into the ball, get my line of compression, bang, hit the ball nice and solid, all right? So that's a great way to feel it when you're doing this. So you're just gonna hinge the club up to under. So I'm getting that feeling, this motion, up. I can feel momentum going away from me rather than coming towards the ball, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna hinge it up, back, and under, okay? Good, bit scruffy strike, that one. But not too bad. So hinge, up to under. And that's what you're trying to do here. So you're hinging up to under. All right? And that keeps me nicely on line through the swing. Now, once you've done that a few times, then you've got to try and utilize that into a normal golf swing. So what I have a tendency to feel when I do this is that as I'm taking the club away, I'm feeling as though I'm pushing the handle down, the butt end of the club, and lifting the club head up. All right, so it feels like it goes like this, then it's going to pass over my hands to then come down to the ball. So you try and utilize that same feeling as you had here, but I'm just transferring it to here. All right, so I'm just going to make a swing. I'm just going to stand there, up to under, okay? And that gets me getting the club head back on track on the right path. It moves everything in the right angles to get it back online. That's a great way to feel that drill and to feel and how to utilize momentum. So from a face-on look, okay, hinge the wrists up and down, okay? That's the feeling I get. So the momentum of the club is always moving away from me, not moving closer. You can sort of see it visually. That's moving closer, okay? So that's moving, you can see the club go deep here, up to over, or you can see it go out to under. Okay, you can sort of see those circles working differently. So I really recommend that you give that a try to get as much movement on this as you possibly can and get that feel, okay? But remember, check your grip, so your club face is nice and square and your wrists are in a solid set position. Then that job's done, but make sure you get the club going up to under. All right, that's the feel. So going up to under. All right, that's a great feel to have to give you more solid contact. So I hope that answers the question. Okay, we're trying to get the momentum of the club to go away from the ball, not moving away to then closer. If you do that, you're in no man's land. You're not going to hit the ball solidly at all. And that's with all the clubs as well. All right, practice that. Drop a comment below. Let me know how that goes. If you try that drill, go and try it. What's the worst that can happen on the range? Okay, nothing. All right, you might actually hit the ball better. So try it out. Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to see that. Now also as well, if you have any questions for me about the Malaska system or any questions about the golf swing, please again, drop them in the comments below. I love answering these questions because a lot of you have great questions. So please ask them and let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you'd like to see more of this sort of content, you know, I'm answering your questions. This is your questions that you asked me here. I'd love doing these ones because it's about helping you improve your game. So, and if it's a great question, I'll probably gives me a content as well, number one, but it's also helping people with real situations. I've got the best facilities here at the Manchester Golf Club and Manchester Golf Academy, where I've got driving ranges, short game areas. If you have any questions about your game, and also we can even do on-course course management stuff, whatever you want, ask me. I'm here to help you improve your game and elevate your game so you can play better. All right. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video. I want to try and grow this community as much as I possibly can.